Hello, 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 hello. Good people. Welcome to a special edition of Worthy Wednesday because today is St. Patrick's Day. So if you do not wear green, which right now while I'm saying this, I do not have on anything green, I was going to say you might need to get a pinch because that's what you're supposed to do on St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day. Also, this is a fun fact for you worthy women. I actually looked up the history of St. Patrick's Day. I don't think in my entire educational journey I ever knew what St. Patrick's Day was about. Now, I am going to tell you that March 15th, y'all know it's the Ides of March, and that's, did y'all know that? Oh, anyway, so I feel really special today because I looked up what St. Patrick's Day really means. Now, the only thing I really knew about it is that you got to wear green, like they taught us about leprechauns or four-leaf clovers or what, just all this other stuff, but it has nothing to do with that actually. It actually has to do with the death of Saint Patrick, the saint who was the founder of the Isle of Ireland, and I didn't even know that. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. I felt so smart after reading that. So happy St. Patrick's Day. So it's a really big deal in Ireland. Like this is it is a momentous occasion that they celebrate. And we just took it in the grand old US of A, and we go out and celebrate and do all those things. So anyway, and happy St. Patrick's Day to all of our fellow Ireland. That's so cool. Anyway, so happy Worthy Wednesday to you. I am happy to see you worthy women today. Y'all, 2021 is definitely the year of me. I've been thinking actually, how many more times can I talk about myself? And then I thought to myself, how many more times do I love talking about myself? So I found out that I have an infinite number available. However, sometimes I think that the lesson is so deeply personal that there are moments in my brain where I think, I'm not really sure if I want to share that. But I've also discovered that authenticity makes the best teacher. And so I'm challenging you, worthy women, that if you have relationships with other people, which all of us do, that it is so important to remain authentic. There's nothing more than being able to tell someone else, another worthy woman, whether they're younger or older, about your experience and how that has allowed you to come to a place that you are currently in. And I'm going to just share a brief snippet of that. There is a young girl that works with me here in Oregon, and she is 22, all of 22. Beautiful girl. And so she was talking to me, and I just happened to ask her, I said, now what are you doing in your real life? Because this is just a job. So what are you doing in your real life? And she said, well, you won't believe this, but I went to college for 3 years. And I said, did you finish your degree? She said, no. No, ma'am. So immediately I went into mommy mode and said, why didn't you finish it? And all this stuff. And so anyway, I just really encouraged her that this is the time for her to go back and finish that degree. I mean, for all of us who have been to college, if you got 3 years in, you just suck it up and you finish that sucker. You know what I'm saying, worthy women? But she just thought about all the other things that she could do in her life. She was like, I don't know, I just got bored. And I thought, oh, Father. So anyway, probably the next day she came, I think it was the next day, the day after she came back to work, and she said, you know what? And I was like, what? She said, I told my parents about you, which tickled me. And so she said, my mom was like, I'm coming down there to hug that lady. She's originally from Hawaii. So I said, actually, I'd prefer if I could go visit them. I mean, let me just keep it 100. I'd prefer to go to Hawaii. But her mom, I can just imagine, was so happy to have another mom say to her daughter, don't fail to live up to your potential. You know you're capable of finishing it, so just go back and finish it. So anyway, I talked to her today, and I was like, have you registered yet? She was like, no. So y'all know I'm make sure that little girl goes back to college so she can finish that degree, because you're going to do that there. But anyway, last week, y'all had to write goal number 2. So I hope y'all are writing goals for yourself. Just think you only have to write one a week. I mean, what a miracle. You only have to accomplish one. And so last week you were supposed to write a goal about your perspective and how you can change your perspective about a particular area in your life. And so I hope you did that, because changing your perspective changes everything. And when you can be grateful for something that you thought was a negative, boy, Boy, oh boy, does that change how you think about life. So this week, it's going to be two parts. I've already decided. I just feel like there's so many things that I want to say and so many things that I want to cover, but I feel like it's so important to kind of say something and let it marinate for a while that you can go back and watch the video. This is a true story. I watch every Worthy Wednesday again, sometimes multiple times throughout the week. A lot of it is because the first time I watch it, I'm really listening to it. The second, third, fourth, 50th time, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Oh, maybe I should do this. Oh, maybe that wasn't a good point. Oh, I got too excited right there and I talked too fast. So seriously, I walk through that with you. You guys probably don't even think about that stuff, but I do. So that's a part of my life that I'm learning how to be appreciative and to be grateful for the opportunity and not critique or criticize myself. So that's a word for somebody. You need to be grateful and thankful for the opportunity and not critique and criticize yourself all the time if you feel like you're not doing it as well as other people are saying you are. So remember that. Anyway, so this week, Worthy Women, I want to talk about release me. Now, y'all know I love the dictionary, right? And I go to it every week. And then sometimes I think, I'm not even going to the dictionary. Like when I talked about frustrated me, I was honestly just speaking to you from my heart because my whole life I was frustrated at that moment. But today when I went to the dictionary for release, my first thought was, I wonder if a synonym for that word is free, right? Because at first I wanted to talk about free me. And then I said, oh, no, I don't really like that word. I said, I like the word release. So, of course, I went to the dictionary. But today, I actually went to the thesaurus instead. Come on, y'all. I'm growing up. I went to the thesaurus. That's a hard word to say. That's a sidebar. Thesaurus. Anyway, so free is a synonym for release. So that really tickled me. So then I said, I wonder if release is a synonym for free, because a synonym are words, they're different words, but they have similar meaning. Okay, so that doesn't mean that the meaning is the same. It means it can be similar. So there are certain aspects of the definition that line up. So if you heard somebody say one word and they substituted it for a different word, the general context of the word would still be the same. So I was like, okay, I have to check. So then I looked up free, and then I went to the thesaurus, and would you believe it or not, drum roll please, release is a synonym for that word. Okay, so then, y'all, I was really excited because then it really opened my mind to think about what does release me mean. Now, here's the beauty of 2021 Worthy Women, because we're only talking about me. I'm never talking about you. So you can listen to me and then think, does that apply to me? And if it does, that's where your homework comes in, that you need to apply that. So I wanted to figure out, what does release me mean? Sorry, I put my notes on the chair. So I thought about 2020 because I felt like that's the best context I could put it in, because there's not one person in the entire world that has not lived through this pandemic time that we are still presently living in, slowly coming back to a sense of normalcy, not there, but a sense of it. And so I thought about what more appropriate to talk about release me than in now 2021, when everybody literally was screaming, get me out of 2020. So here's how I thought about it. Okay. In March, we had no idea what was going to happen 3 weeks into March. I told y'all that we were preparing to go to Colorado, one of the biggest volleyball tournaments there are. But here's the part I didn't tell you. At the same time that we were preparing to go to the volleyball tournament, our school population had experienced a wave of sickness that was literally taking out grades at a time. It was in kindergarten, then 5th grade, and then 7th grade because my niece got sick, and then it was in 3rd grade, and then 4th grade. And honestly, when you work in education, school is a human petri dish. Teachers have superior immunity because of all the things that we encounter while we're with our students. Now, I've never been a person that's been sick ever. I mean, have I had a cold? Yes. Have I ever had strep throat? Yes. Normal stuff? Yes. But I would say 99 days out of all of them, I'm never sick. I mean, even when school starts, I might get the sniffles a day or two, but I just kind of move on. But that's not what happened to me in March. So here we are. Our school was getting ready to go on spring break. We're on our way to Denver. And I really hadn't been feeling that good for like a week already. I was just like, ooh, I'm not feeling like I was tired, all these things. Okay. So anyway, then they announced that they're going to shut down everything. So I'm thinking we're still going to Denver. And then we finally get word from Denver late Friday night that they're going to postpone the tournament because they were threatening to sanction them. So of course we couldn't go. Well, then the following week was our spring break. Nobody really thought that we weren't coming back to school after spring break, including me. But that week of spring break, y'all, when I tell you I was really sick, I was sick, okay? That week before, I did not feel good at all. And I went to the doctor. Now, I will go to the doctor if I don't feel good. But literally, I went to the doctor 3 times. Well, to urgent care. Every time I went, they were just like, it's not the flu. Okay. It's not strep throat. Okay. It's not an ear infection. I mean, they just went through all of these things, but they really could not identify it. So the doctor was like, I'm just going to suggest that you rest. Okay. Well, I can't rest. I'm working because I'm a teacher. So I'll just keep going. So anyway, when I finally went that last day, the doctor said to me, I think you have walking pneumonia. What? First you told me that I was just sick. Then you told me I was at the end of it. And now you're telling me you think I have walking pneumonia. I was like, okay, so honestly, I just wanted to tell her, you don't know what you're talking about. But I didn't say that. So anyway, the next week I was sick, like sick as a dog sick. I was sick. And I was like, ooh, I got to get my life together because we got to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. So we didn't go back to work. So I was like, ooh, thank God I can get myself together. I was sick the second week. I was like, boy, this is terrible. Like, I am really, really not doing well. So I ran a low grade fever. I did have a cough every now and then. My sense of taste and smell would come and go. You know, listen, they're talking about COVID, but they weren't really saying what it was. They weren't really saying how it was. And I was like, oh, I don't really feel that good. And then at nighttime, you guys, I could not breathe at nighttime. Literally, I would lie down and I'd be like, I would wake up trying to catch my breath. I was like, this is not the business. So I started sleeping, sitting up because I was like, I am scared to lie down at night. So anyway, I did a lot of home remedy things, you know, just anything because the doctors wouldn't give me any medicine. So I felt like if it's just a virus, they're just going to tell me it has to run the course. So I was making sure I take vitamins and I eat pretty clean, thanks be to God. And so I was doing all the things that I knew in order to keep my immunity up. Okay. So anyway, now I've been sick a month. Okay. So now we're in the last week of March going into April. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So finally, right after Easter is when it kind of broke and I started feeling better. Well, went back to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, you had COVID. Y'all, first of all, I was like, what? What'd you say, ma'am? Okay, because here's the thing. You never think that anything that's happening outside of you will come in. Do y'all ever think, let me just raise my, I'm just talking about me because I can't talk about y'all. But literally, I thought, there's no way I could have, like, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. But I told y'all at the beginning of this story, there had been a wave of sickness. And I don't mean like little bit. I mean, I told you it was taking kids out 10 days at a time. So in my brain, I started putting certain things together. I was like, well, it was this, and I had this, and I totally had that. No taste or smell. Oh, I ran a fever. Oh, coughing. Oh, shortness of breath. I had every symptom that they had put out to identify COVID-19. Well, at the same time, Gianna was at home. Obviously, she lives with me. And I literally kept her away from me because I didn't want her to get sick, you know. So I'm doubling up her vitamins and doing all the things I'm doing for me. I'm making her do it. And she's like, I don't feel bad. So I'm doing all those things. But all of this was happening inside of me. Like, this was at my house. This wasn't outside of my house. This was in my house. Then I was just like, this was the worst sickness ever. Literally, y'all, it knocked me down. And I was exhausted, not tired. I was exhausted. Fatigue does not even begin to describe it. So anyway, let me just get to the chase right now. So what does that have to do with release me? Well, the whole time I was sick, y'all, I was thinking, God, I wish I could just get released from this cold. Like, this is dumb. I was so upset, not because I wasn't feeling good, but because I couldn't identify what was causing me not to feel good. And going to the doctors, they couldn't identify, even with all the stuff that was literally breaking every 30 seconds, it seemed, about COVID and all of the symptoms. They still couldn't identify. They didn't want to misdiagnose, and they didn't know how to treat it, and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So I was really like, golly, I just wish I was released from this. This is really annoying. Like, I really, really hate it. And then I said to myself, I just want it over. I want it to be over. I can't take anymore. Like, I'm tired of feeling tired. I'm tired of having to sleep sitting up. I'm tired of having a fever off and on. I'm tired of having a cough. I'm tired of no taste or smell. I went through all of these things, and I was like, I just want to be released from this. I was like, why won't this release me? Anyway, thanks be to God. Y'all see me, I'm sitting here. So thanks be to God for that. But I thought about how appropriate it was to talk about that a year almost to the day that it happened, right? And so I said, when I looked back at that time, I was like, ooh, I couldn't wait for that to let me go. I couldn't wait to get free from that, right? Because I felt like, well, once I got free from it, once it released me, then I could go on about my life and do the things that I had done before and take care of the things that I had taken care of. But I'm going to tell y'all something, that after a month, after when finally all the symptoms had really, dissipated and disappeared, I was still tired. Like, y'all, I couldn't just do what I did before. It took me a few minutes to get my strength back up, to make sure I was eating enough, and all of those things in order for me to return to the place where I was prior to me getting sick. So I want you to understand that there are things that come into your life and your only thought is, release me. Free me from this. I can't take it anymore. I want it to be over. Just release me. And what I learned now, looking back at that moment, is what happens after something has run the course that it is purposed to run. When that thing has finished in your life, then things that are supposed to be can return. So let me just share this with you. So now we're in a season where kids are going back to school. Kids are being able to play sports. Restaurants are open for people to come inside. Grocery stores are at regular hours. Gas stations are regular so people can, get gas or whatever. Local community courts and government buildings are opening slowly so people can come back in and take care of things that they need to take care of. Hospitals are reopening to perform surgeries that people need that they had been put on hold because of contamination. All of those things. When something has run its course, then you're released. Okay, worthy women, I'm going to tell you right now, this might not be a word for you, but it's certainly a word for me. I cannot tell you how many times I just wanted to get out of that. Like, I didn't want to cough. I didn't want to be sick. I didn't want to have a fever. I didn't want to feel bad. I didn't want to feel tired. I didn't want to be achy. I just literally wanted it over. So you can apply that to every single area in your life. Sometimes you just want your marriage over. You want to be a parent and you want that to be over. You want your job to be over. You want not working for those people to be over. You want not to be sad or hurt or depressed. You just want it to be over. But see, a better word for that is you want to be released from it, because sometimes when something is over, it doesn't necessarily mean you got released from it. It just means that that thing has ended, but the confinement that you're in is still present. I mean, I honestly, since this is the year of me, y'all know I'm just talking about me. I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about me. So anyway, now we can buy toilet paper. Praise be to the Lamb. Because there were some months that nobody could get it. Nobody could find it. Nobody could order it. And so I noticed how wonderful it is to go into the supermarket and go down the toilet paper out, and there is toilet paper, that there are Clorox wipes, that there is Lysol, that there is all these things that you take for granted because you feel like, well, I don't need that right now. So I don't need to be released from that. I don't need to get free from the things that we use often. It's the things that we don't use often, like trust, faith, hope, belief. See, we don't use those things often. We only use them in crunch situations. And so thankfully, I'm only talking about me and not y'all. So it kind of works out. So I wanted to figure out, what does it mean when I say release me? So that's a complete sentence. Did y'all know that? It's a complete sentence. Now, there are sentences that when you say certain things, the subject is understood. Like, for example, if I say sit down, the subject in that sentence is understood. It's you. So without me saying you or your name, if I look at you and say sit down, your response is to sit down. Okay, so release me. And I was like, well, who? Release you, release me. And I was like, wait, but it's not somebody else. It's me. Sidebar. So then I had the revelation that I don't need other people to release me. I need to make a decision to be released from myself, from my own hangups, in my thoughts, in my speech, in my patterns, in my friendships. I need to be released from me. Worthy women, listen to me. I am telling you, the amount of pressure that we put on ourselves because we remain in certain things is the reason why we're always screaming, release me. So let me I'm going to just give you a little bit of this and then I'm going to go home. Well, y'all know what I'm saying. And then next week we're going to finish it. So I went to the dictionary, obviously, but there are so many things that I want to say. I'm just going to take 2 things tonight and then I'm going to pick it up next week. So first of all, release me, the sentence releases the noun, which we know that the noun in a sentence is the main thing, right? Release is also a verb because it also indicates that there is action to that. But then I said, well, if release is the noun, well, what is me in the sentence? Well, me in that sentence is a pronoun. Now, y'all know, because I taught English, y'all know I have to give you a lesson every week because I feel like it's critical. So a pronoun is a word or a group of small words that are used as substitutes for nouns or noun phrases. Wait a minute. So when you hear me say, release me, remember that the subject at that time is understood. So who am I saying? You release me release me. But me is the pronoun, which means that it is a substitute for the noun where the reference, those things that I'm referring to, are either named or understood. So remember when I said that there are some sentences that the subject, which is usually the noun, is understood without me naming the noun. So when I say release me, what I am saying is me release, me get free, me let go, me make a different choice. All right. So after I read that, I literally wanted to not do Worthy Wednesday because I said, this is the problem for me. Listen, and here's the beauty of this. Y'all don't even have to identify if this is you, but I am identifying for all of us that this is me. So this is what release means as a noun. Next week, I'm going to share with you as a verb, how we usually use it. But relief as a noun, I'm going to only do the first definition. It is relief or deliverance from sorrow, suffering, or trouble. Release. When you get released, you experience relief. What does relief mean? You take a breath. It means you're able to step back. It means that your focus has shifted. It means that your attention can now be on what is important. I feel relief or deliverance. That means something that at one time held me bound no longer holds me bound. I am free from the sorrow, from the suffering, or from the trouble. Worthy women, when you say release me, I am saying I demand relief and or deliverance from sorrow, from suffering, or trouble. So I'm sick. And all I kept saying was, I want this thing to release me. Like, I want it to get off me. I'm tired of it now. Like, this is dumb. Hurry up. And all I was really saying is, I want relief from this. I want to take a breath and not feel like I need to catch 50 breaths in order to supply enough oxygen for that breath that I just took. I want deliverance from this. I want my body to shift back to what it was doing before the sickness invaded me, and it's having to work overtime in order to protect me so I can keep functioning. I don't want this sorrow in my life anymore. I don't want this suffering. I don't want this trouble. I want to be released. So then I thought to myself, I said, how many times in my life have I lingered in something when I needed to say, God, release me? I want to be free from this suffering. I want to be free from this trouble. I want to be free from this sorrow. But then here's what gets me about me, not y'all, about me. This, because I'm talking about me. Sometimes I don't want to be released, because sometimes I would rather stay in that sorrow, that suffering, or that trouble, because maybe me is seeking attention. Maybe me wants somebody to get in there with me and be like, oh my God, Cree, I can't believe this is happening to you. They are terrible. They shouldn't have done this. Girl, yes, we need to just go and beat them up and blah, blah, blah. And maybe I want someone to feel sorry for me, that I'm in this trouble, that I'm in this suffering, that I'm in this pain. Maybe I want somebody to just say, girl, I totally understand how you feel. Maybe I want somebody to not make me accountable. See, because here's what I learned during the time that I was sick with COVID-19. Y'all, this is what I learned, that I have a responsibility to me. Listen, I told you I went to the doctor 3 times. They didn't do anything. They didn't give me medicine. They didn't give me anything. So I'm basically having to figure out what to do to take care of my own body. How do I release all of these toxins and stuff that's in there? How do I help my immune system fight? How do I make sure I get enough water? How do I make sure I get enough nutrients and hydration and all these things? Listen, y'all, I was doing it by myself. And all I kept saying is why won't anybody come in here and help me with this? Why won't anybody get in the midst of this suffering or sorrow or trouble? Why didn't Sally Sue's parents die? She's the devil. Why did my parents die? Why did I have a car accident? Why did I get a cancer diagnosis? Why did I have a miscarriage? Why can't I have a baby? Why is everybody else released but me? Well, God, do you even care about that? I mean, because those are the conversations I had. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm talking about me, so I can tell you what. I mean, those were the conversations I had. God, do you care about this? I mean, maybe I'm not talking about the situation, but do you at least care about me? Do you care that I'm in this sorrow? Oh, God. Ooh. Do you even care that my heart can't take any more heartbreak? Do you understand that I can't take any more rejection? Do you understand that I can't take any unmet expectations? Do you understand that I can't take any more unfulfilled promises? Do you understand that? Do you understand that I'm in suffering, trying to figure out how I'm going to make ends meet? How am I going to live from day to day? How am I going to be a good model to my daughter? How am I going to make it. I mean, do you care that I'm in this trouble? And I'm not talking about trouble that you get in because we make the wrong choice. I'm talking about trouble that enters your life and you're not sure how it got there. Trouble in a relationship, trouble in a community, trouble at your job. Trouble that comes and it troubles you because you don't really have any frame of reference to get out of it. I'm sorry, God, could you release me or no? Like, can you, I mean, maybe you could just give me a 1-up to kind of let me know, oh, don't worry, Korea, it'll be fine. No, let me, in the moment where I felt like it just dragged on and on. And I was like, oh, some days I felt 100%. Some days I felt 20%. Some days I felt 40%. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I just want to be released. Worthy women, I wonder if you have ever cried or screamed, release me. I mean, maybe you said the synonym to that word, which is free me. Free me from this relationship, from this job, from this friend group, from people bullying me. Free me from those who gossip about me. Release me from gossiping about others. Release me from being the one causing the trouble. Release me from being the one inflicting the suffering. Release me from being the one that brought the sorrow. See, it's funny because those 3 words indicate that something is being done to you. But I believe what is critical is that we recognize, worthy women, and I recognize tonight about me, not you, but about me. I have been guilty of bringing those things to others. I have brought sorrow. I have brought suffering. And I have brought trouble. Not in the sense that you think of those words, but in the sense where somebody can't recover. Somebody can't catch their breath. Somebody can't get a good night's sleep. Somebody can't get their self back to 100% because of what y'all, about what I did. Oh, huh. So then I realized that because me is a pronoun, it refers to what the noun, which is release, is referring to. I recognize that me, and I'm raising my hand here because, you know, it's just about me. Me is the problem. Worthy women, I want to share one more thing and then I'm going to go. So how do I change me being the problem? I mean, honestly, in the realm of sickness, I don't really think there's anything you can do about that. I mean, you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to do whatever the doctor recommends. You've got to exercise. You got to eat right. You got to hydrate, all those things. But what do you do when the reason why you are screaming, release me, is because you won't let go of something that is harming you? What do you do when the reason why you're screaming, release me, is because you won't admit that you like keeping that trouble going in that particular situation? What if the reason why you're screaming, release me, is because the sorrow of confronting me or confronting that particular situation would not give you the power to manipulate people again? I recognize tonight that when I was screaming, release me, if I would not have been doing the things necessary to get released, I was asking in vain. And I was certainly asking prematurely. So tonight, worthy women, I want you to think about where in your life have you asked to be released, but it's been premature in the timing. Where in your life have you seen sorrow and suffering and trouble, but you've never admitted you are responsible for those things? Where in our lives have we said to others, I wish they would just release me. I wish I could get released from this. But we have never once, not once, made the decision to realize that the one who can control being released is the one who's asking to be released. 2021, worthy women. It's the year of me. I'll see you next Wednesday.